right. Does it say recording in the top left corner?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, hello everyone. My name is Nick Eggert, and today's date is May 7th, and it's 3:02. And I'm here with, well, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Katherine Lauersdorf.
Hey.
I don't know what else to say.
What do you do, Katherine?
I am a registered nurse at the Lombardi Cancer Clinic in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Okay. How do you feel about the whole COVID-19 pandemic? Like, what were your initial thoughts?
At first, I didn't really want to believe it, and then the news just kind of got to me a lot. You kind of get like wrapped up into it. You see things on social media, and after a while, like when reports came out and the numbers just don't seem as intense as what everyone pans it out to be, then it was kind of like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds terrible, but you kind of get numb to it.
So you think it was kind of like a mass hysteria at first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. And then how have like day-to-day activities kind of changed for you?
So for work, the only thing that has changed is because I work at a cancer clinic, we have patients who are, their immune systems are very, very down, I guess you could say. And the chances of them getting sick are a lot higher, so we don't allow any visitors in. So it doesn't seem as busy. But like socially, it's just kind of hard because you don't have that option to hang out with anybody, or everyone is just scared to meet up with you because of what's going on, you know? So I would say socially I was more affected than professionally or with my job. So.
And going further with that, with socially, are you more like an introverted person where you're out and about all the time?
That depends. That depends. There are some times where I feel like I'm a big introvert where I don't want to do anything. And I'm not gonna lie, this virus kind of helped with that, because it was like, okay, I don't have to go anywhere, I don't need to do anything. But there are times when I need to be around other people outside of work, but I would say overall I'm more introverted. Okay. So
I kind of misspoke. I meant extroverted when I asked the question, but that's okay. We'll go from there.
Oh, sorry, did I miss?
No, it's sorry. I messed up. I'm the one that messed up.
Okay.
And so I just want to go back to your work life then. Has there been any like huge changes? I know you mentioned that your clientele are like immunosuppressed people, but is there like a huge change in work life, like the atmosphere?
Besides, are you talking, well, okay, like patient wise, yeah, there are less people coming in. We had to push back people who, I wouldn't say it wasn't necessary, like if they weren't necessarily needed treatment, but like if they needed something like a port flush or something simple, I guess, that could wait, we pushed that back. And we just continue to take care of people who needed treatments or other infusions and stuff like that. So, but as of right now, the amount of new people that we normally get isn't as much because the diagnostic surgeries are down right now. So no one can get tested. So once this opens, I think it's going to be more of a wave of people, But at work itself, let's see, like pay wise, we get furlough, which is kind of nice. So if we don't meet all of our hours, we get furlough pay. So, which is nice compared to other times, because if you don't get your hours, you just don't get paid. So, other than that, having to wear a mask all the time and just get our temperatures checked when we come in. Other than that, nothing has really changed. Actually, I take that back. We have, let's see, three doctors who kind of rotate, and they have to do video conferences, or you just have to instant message them at work. It's kind of different compared to them just being there all the time. Our cancer nurse navigators are not on site anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel kind of bad for them because they have to figure out who took care of who, versus just trying to find someone physically. So they just have a lot more stress for what they do. But
Gotcha.
other than that, that's really the big changes. So
you're not like getting tested normally?
The only testing that we do is just get a temperature check before I walk in the building. So.
All right. So overall, would you say like tensions are pretty high within the offices, or like how are like you and your coworkers feeling about all this?
In the beginning, we got like closer, I feel, because it was all new, it was different. And how do policies are changing all the time. Like 1 minute you can wear a surgical mask, the next minute you can wear like a cloth mask and things. So we were just very flexible. And now I think everyone is just getting irritated because you can't do anything. You can't really, I guess, release like stress, because normally you can go out with your friends or you can hang out with family and things. And I think that's just really wearing on people. They're bringing it to work, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you did mention like your family. Have you been in touch with them a lot? Have you been doing like Zoom calls?
So with my family, I have a little bit of a different situation. I currently live at home with my family, and everybody's considered an essential worker.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so my parents own a trucking business, so I work at their warehouse the days I'm not at the clinic, and my mom runs the warehouse, my sister is there, and my brother and my dad drive truck over the road, and my sister's fiance also lives with us, and he drives over the road. So that really hasn't changed for us. So, but as far as like other friends or other elderly couples, we've been like doing a couple Zoom chats, or like for example, my friend's son just turned 1 about a month ago, so I drove up to Green Bay to do those parades.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much it. So
Okay. Just wondering because a lot of people, myself included, like we aren't able to see our family members as much. And so it's just interesting that you brought the trucking industry. So are you like self-quarantine away from everyone else, knowing that you have to go into the Vince Lombardi clinic, or are you still seeing each other on a daily basis?
You mean my family?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we still see each other every day. At the warehouse, we have like we have the office with the glass door that's locked so no one can come in, the window's closed. That's pretty much where before it was open so people can just freely walk in and out of the office.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much the only quarantine thing there. But as far as coming home and seeing my family every day, that has not changed.
Okay.
So.
All right. I think I'm gonna switch up topics here.
Okay.
You say you're from Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the community is reacting to all this?
How did who react?
The community. So like patrons
Oh,
of Sheboygan.
it's hard. So like in the beginning, I think people panicked because they didn't know what to expect. But now I think people they're not really obeying the stay-at-home order. At least I don't think they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it lost its intensity or its scare or whatever you want to call it. So.
Right. I think a lot of people, like you said, just want to get out and about. They're already tired of this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
let's see here. What else I got? Like what kind of like activities Well, actually, let me think that. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, of course. Of course. No worries.
So who usually like does most of the shopping then in your family? Like who goes
That's
out?
funny you say that. Because at first it was like my sister and I. My mom would go every once in a while, but again, I would say the majority was me because I was already out, and where the clinic is, it's like right next to a grocery store, or I pass Myers and stuff on my way home, so it's just more convenient for me to stop. But if it's during the weekend or whenever, I guess my sister will come with me. But
Hmm.
we try to stick like what is it? My dad went once, my mom went a couple times, but yeah, the majority would be my sister and I. So
And then do you know anyone that has gotten COVID-19 like through Facebook or anyway?
um let's see. I don't know anybody personally, but I know people who've had, like, for example, my friend's grandma had it, or let's see, or like a couple random my friends, their friends kind of thing, but nobody personally.
Okay, just let's see. I guess I'm gonna switch up the topics again. Um,
Yeah, of course.
you know, like how do you think the like local government is handling everything? If you said it's kind of relaxed, what do you think? How do you think they're handling it?
How do I think like,
But the
you mean like
government,
numbers and stuff?
yeah.
Um, to be honest, I think how he extended the stay at home was kind of a little excessive, in my opinion. I just find it kind of hard to believe that why would you extend something when you really don't know what the rest of that month is going to be like, you
Mhm.
know? So to be honest, I think they're kind of overdoing it, you know? And like on a federal level, I feel like Trump is doing everything he can to kind of, get the economy going, and but still be cautious of it because he's allowing the governors to, like, okay, you decide when your state opens, but at least they have other um, phases in place where people can follow. But I don't know. I think federally we're doing good, but the state wise, I don't think so. If that makes sense.
Right. And I kind of get that. And then do you agree with him shutting down all the parks too, like in Wisconsin?
No, I think that's ridiculous, to be honest, because you're outside. If you just stay the 6 feet away, I don't see it being a big deal. But the fact that you had to shut that down was a little ridiculous. Like, I actually heard a story of um, there was this group that was outside singing happy birthday to this elderly couple. It was in Kiel, I think.
Hmm.
And the neighbor didn't like it. So the neighbor called the cops, and the cops came over because there's more than 10 people. He said, if you don't leave, I'll have to fine you $1,000 a person, which is completely ridiculous. But what do you do? You know?
Right. It's these scary times where again everyone's kind of fearful and paranoid with all of it. I kind of get
Right.
that. Uh, let's see here. How do you think this is gonna like all pan out and like transpire?
Uh, I feel like this will be our new normal for quite a while. Um, I have a feeling that when like the flu season hits, it's going to be very, very intense because everyone who comes home and wipes everything down, and you're not allowing to be out in public and do anything, your everyday germs and things like that, you're not building up to, or you're not being immune to it. So really, you're kind of knocking down your own immune system at home.
Hmm.
So once flu hits and you have no immune system, I think it's going to hit you harder versus a year ago when you were out and able to do anything you wanted. I feel that it's going to be hitting all the phases. I think is going to be intense because you're going to think, hey, can I go? Can we make this plan? Can we plan this? Because there's only a certain amount of people. I just think it's going to be very hard to get used to until all the phases are completed, so.
So do you see like past events now and you're just like, oh, I can't believe they're doing that? Like, say I'm watching a TV show and you see, people hugging. Has that kind of like changed your whole view of the relationships and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird how you see things on TV and you're like, if it's at an event or something or at a concert, you're like, wow, like I can't even picture that right now, especially with like, even for example, Summerfest and like Country USA and stuff, that's all being pushed back to August. You know what I mean? So it's hard to see on TV, definitely. I'm actually watching this show and people are very close. And it's like, wow, yeah, no way. Not for a while.
Right.
So.
And so I know a lot of people, back to like the government thing, they're opening up the whole like debate about the economy and stuff. Do you think like we'll be done with in the next like end of into the fall, or do you think it's gonna be a couple of years from now that we're gonna resituate and go back to normal per
se? So you're asking like for the economy to come back?
Back more just like that normal interaction with people. Like how long do you think it's going to take before we go back to that normal?
I think it will take quite a while. I would say probably a good year, maybe, because some people are just so petrified and they don't want to get anyone sick. And I understand that to a point, but at the same time, you also have to try to go back to some normalcy. So I think depending on who it is, to be, to be able to accept and try to go back to normal, so I don't know. I think probably a good year, I would say.
Okay.
But what do I know?
I know we've been talking about it's pandemic's kind of a dark kind of topic. Is there like anything that you saw on the news that was kind of positive and lightheartening that you wanted to talk about?
It's positive. I do really like how the community and just, I guess, like different companies and things are just really putting healthcare workers, like, hey, that's great. Like the discounts or like people raising money to help with anything related to COVID. What does kind of upset me though is like, okay, I understand nurses and like healthcare workers are frontline and I think that's amazing. But there's other people I feel like we kind of forget about. Like, for example, truck drivers. They aren't even allowed to get food inside of truck stops. They can't shower, especially, or like they have porta potties outside. It's just they feel very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they feel like they have the plague when really they're just trying to deliver supplies to everybody, So sorry, it's kind of off topic, but I just seem to notice that. So it's nice that people are boosting up healthcare workers, but I feel like they should kind of involve everybody.
You think that they should be getting that kind of all the time, that now people are recognizing their importance?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I got everything. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I do find it very interesting though with the schools and like the online learning. So my friend is a English teacher in De Pere, and she just told me the other day that they are possibly going to continue, or more than likely, continue online learning in the fall,
Hmm.
and like fall sports are canceled. And to me, it's like that is just so insane to make that kind of a decision this early. You know what I mean? Like, how about you? Like, you're in school. Like, how are they handling it for you guys?
As of right now, it's still up in the air with that topic, with having school in the fall. But I think they might have us go all online again, just to take away from that the COVID phase, like getting through all that stuff. So I think it might be more online learning for like the next school year. It's just tough for everyone because people need that face-to-face interaction with other people. Um, so you have nothing much more to say. I thank you for taking your time out of the day to help
Yeah,
me out with
definitely.
this, and I hope
Of course.
mentally and physically everything's gonna be okay for you and your family down the
Thank
road.
you.
And you have a good weekend.
Same.
All right,
What's that?
and you have a good weekend too.
Thank you. You too. If you need anything, just let me know.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Bye.